much, ladies and gentlemen. Second but last presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, the current stage of development of human rights, including the right to privacy, according to the typology of the Polish professor Tadeusz Jasudowicz, is their implementation. In other words, realization. In a nutshell, after idealization, conceptualization, normativization, constitutionalization, and internationalization, the real protection of freedom and human rights is of key importance for the individuals and communities. The key at this stage of the development of legal awareness is the ability to know and exercise freedom and rights so that they are not only theoretical or illusory, but practical and effectiveness. This, of course, also applies to the right to privacy. In modern literature, to put it simply, we can see two approaches to the right to privacy. According to the first, there is a need to increase the scope and forms to the level of privacy protection. Therefore, in the instruments of international law and in the constitutions of modern states, not only the right to privacy in general is guaranteed, but also its various aspects: the privacy of personal, the privacy of family, the privacy or professional life. What's more, we notice in various constitutions adopted at the end of the 20th century a tendency to guarantee selected aspects of privacy, such as protection of personal data, freedom and protection of the secrecy of communication, inviolability of housing, and others. According to the second approach to the right to privacy, there are numerous restrictions on the sphere of privacy, especially by the state, justified by the need to protect such values as state security, public order, protection of public health, and others. We have experienced this approach to privacy in our countries in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. However, we must not forget about the restriction of privacy due to other individual rights, such as the right of information. With this in mind, a key question can be asked: is there anything else important to be written about the right to privacy? I repeat this question. Is there anything else important to be written about the right to privacy? Yes. If you take on a team of researchers, such as those working in the international team Right to Privacy, established as part of the Central European Professor Network project by the Central European Academy University of Miskolc. A team of eminent scientists conducted research on the right to privacy in the digital age under the direction of Professor Marcin Wielec. The results is a book prepared by Central European Academic Publishing in cooperation with the Budapest-based Ferenc Mádl Institute of Comparative Law. The publication will be published as part of the studies of the Central European Professors Network, whose editor-in-chief of the series is Professor János Ede Szilágyi, head of the Ferenc Mádl Institute of Comparative Law, Professor, University of Miskolc. Dear Professor, dear Ede, congratulations on your choice of issue. Today, we cannot pick up this book, but let me say a little about it at the invitation of the conference organization. The book, which I have to tell you, is like a fern flower. Fern flower, that's what we say in Poland. People talk about her, but they haven't seen her. But I read raw version manuscript of this book, so I can speak you something about this. The book begins with an extremely extensive and detailed introductory chapter by the scientific editor of the book. In it, Professor Marcin Wielec explains the basis aspects of the right to privacy and points the current problems in the exercise of this right. This part of the monograph also consists of short, about half a page, summaries of research carried out of the team members. The first of the analysis by Professor András Kotlay, entitled Protecting Privacy in the Hungarian Legal System, with particular emphasis on freedom of expression, points out from the outset that the current protection of privacy poses a serious challenge to the legal system, especially in light of the proliferation of new technologies from monitoring and registering of persons. In the next, entitled The Right to Privacy in the European Context, Insight into the Basis Issues, Professor Vania Ivansavich analyzes the right to privacy in the legal system of the European continent and selected issues related to privacy, which were the subject of research of the part of national and international judiciary. In the third chapter, entitled Right to Privacy in the Digital Age, a Slovenian Perspective, Professor Matija Damian presents how the privacy of individuals in the digital environment is protected within the legal system of the Republic of Slovenia, which, naturally, functions in the wider context of the European and international human rights framework. From the analysis of the right to privacy by Professor David Schlanek, entitled The Right to Privacy in the Digital Age in the Czech Republic, you can find out how privacy is protected in this country, but strictly according to the standard of national and international law. In the next analysis, entitled Privacy and Data Protection in Serbian Law, Challenges in the Digital Environment, Professor Dusan Popovic pointed out that the concept of privacy in Serbian law is a relatively new and modern concept. The analysis entitled The Right to Privacy in the Digital Age from the point of view of the Slovak legal order was presented by Professor Katarzyna Szmigowa. First of all, the concept of privacy and its contents are analyzed as well as the challenges related to this concept in the context of the digital world. Professor Marta Dragicevic-Preniac, in her chapter entitled The Report on Privacy and Criminal Law in Croatia, Criminal Offenses Against Privacy in the Croatian Legal System, indicates that although technology is something extremely positive, it also has its dark side. The last, but not least, analysis is the research by Dr. Bartłomiej Oręziak from Poland, entitled The Right to Privacy in the Digital Age, Perspective of the Republic of Poland. This study deals with the analysis of the right to privacy in the digital age from the perspective of the Polish normative system. This all analysis carried out allow us to formulate several general conclusions. For the legal system of the Central European countries, it is important to regulate the right to privacy at the constitutional level, with all the consequences that this entails. Regardless of the international and constitutional guarantees of the status of the individual, the development of modern technologies, digitalization, is an extremely important challenge for the protection of the right to privacy. It is much easier to acquire data, process, sell, and others. On the other hand, in the area of digitalization, it is easier to limit privacy due to the protection of values such as state security, public, or health. The restriction of privacy may take place, for example, through the various types of application for smartphone or COVID passport in an electronic version. For the right to privacy, it will be very dangerous to implement ideas like only electronic money and control of cold trace. As it turned out, more than 130 years after Samuel D. Warren and Louis Brandeis wrote a piece about the right to privacy, prominent scientists from Central Europe have a lot to say about this. Congratulations. Finally, I hope that your big effort will be used by legislators in our countries to create better rights related to the right to privacy. Hominum causa omne jus constitutum sit. Definitely worth it. Thank you very much.